Hey guys, it's Hayden, and today I'm going to be reading my Michigan admissions file. So for any of you that are curious, basically at the University of Michigan, you are able to go in and look at your admissions file, and you have 45 minutes to look at it, and you can write down anything, but you cannot record anything. So I wasn't able to take any pictures of what the file looks like, but the admission file basically just had everything printed out from the Common App. At the very end of my file was where the evaluators were able to kind of talk about my application, and that is where like the juicy information is. They didn't really write on the rest of the application at all. It was very interesting to see what they had to say. So if you're curious at all about my stats or even my essays, I have a video on both of those things. So how I got into Michigan and then reading my Michigan essays, you're welcome to go to those videos. So anyways, I had two evaluators. I applied to LSA, and they did make a note that it was communications that I was specifically planning on going into, and I did write about that within my essays. Let's get into the evaluations. I'll put on the screen what it kind of looked like, and I'm just going to be telling you what each evaluator said. Evaluator 1 gave me an overall rating of a 4.0. So from my understanding, the scale is 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. So I got a 4. Then from there, they had information about my GPA, test, school class ranking, core academics, overall educational environment, overall curriculum, overall academics, and then there was a spot that was completely blacked out. And I assume this is for where my recommendations were. And the recommendations, I waived my FERPA rights, which means that I can't see those. Then overall involvement, essays, overall interest, and then there was final comments. So for the GPA, 3.9, which is accurate. Test, it said null, and that is also correct. I did not submit my test scores. And then school does not report class rank, and that is also correct. For core academics, there was 18 classes. For honors, there was 5 classes. For AP/IB, there was 7. And for college, they said there was 0, which actually is not true. And this kind of irked me about my application specifically. The reason why it bothered me that they said that I had 0 is because I actually took 2 dual enrollment courses. I did look in the actual application, and those were both noted as dual enrollment courses on my transcript, and so I don't really know why they said that college was 0. Not really sure, but that's besides the point. So then for overall education environment, they actually said the name of my high school, and it just said good. And then for overall curriculum, it said outstanding, overall academics, outstanding, overall involvement, excellent, essays, excellent, overall interest, outstanding. Then for the final comments, it said that student has elected outstanding AP rigor, though only 3 core in 12. Which I assume means that I only took 3 core academic classes in my senior year. But as I mentioned before, I took 2 dual enrollment courses, and they didn't really say that at all. And then literally verbatim what it had on there said, student a series of commitment. So I assume that they meant has a series of commitment, but student a series of commitments with some leadership. Essays are well written with outstanding UMich interest. Lack of rigor in 12 is cause for concern, holding at 4. They also put the evaluation date, which was 01/02/2021. And I will say what really aggravated me about reading this is the fact that they said that I had a lack of effort in my senior year. I feel like they didn't mention or really care for the fact that it was COVID. I literally took classes through the college, so it was really bothersome to read this because I have a feeling that other colleges felt this way about my transcript and could be some of the reasoning behind why I didn't get into other schools. But obviously I wasn't supposed to go to those schools, and I got in here. Oh, one thing that I didn't say, I totally skipped over this, but they did have a blank spot that literally looked like it could have been 2 words with a period. And I assume that has to do with my recommendation letters. So now on to evaluator 2. So they also gave me an overall rating of a 4.0, and then they said GPA 3.9, test null, and then they specifically put additional test score, and they put all my AP scores that I had sent in thus far, which was 3, 3, 3, 4. Overall curriculum, very good. Overall academics, excellent. Blank space for my recommendations. Overall involvement, excellent. Essays, excellent. Overall interest, excellent. And then final comments were a little shorter than the first evaluator. So it says, final comments, agree with base. Overall, an excellent candidate, but less rigor with only 3 core in 12 holds at 4. So I don't really know what this holds at 4 means. I have a feeling it means that is the reason that they're giving me a 4 and not a 5. Not that that really matters. I don't actually know if that's the case, but anytime that you're holding something, I usually means that this is the reason. So that's probably what they meant. And then the evaluation date for that was 01/11/2021. Some interesting things that I got from viewing my admissions file. Basically what I learned is it just depends on your admissions file viewer and evaluator. I feel like I took a really hard course load my senior year in comparison to most students at my school, especially with COVID, and they acted like that was an issue. From the other videos that I've seen, a lot of people also got a 4, so I think 4 is very much a good score and can get you into the school. I mean, I'm here, so obviously it can. But another thing that I think is really interesting is some of the differences between the evaluators. I'm gonna put a side by side of what they said for different categories. And there is definitely some discrepancies between what they believe is excellent and outstanding. I also would like to comment that they didn't really talk about my leadership, and I feel like that is something that I excelled in. I was actually kind of surprised that there wasn't more about that. They said with some leadership, and most of the things that I did was definitely leadership heavy, and so I was just kind of surprised. And also, just because I think it's a lot doesn't mean that when they're reading it on a piece of paper they even get a grasp how much of a leadership role I played in a lot of these positions. And so it was really interesting to read this. I think it's really interesting that they highlighted that my interest in Michigan was excellent. I don't really know what their difference is between excellent and outstanding. However, in most categories, I did get that. In one category, I got very good, which I assume is less than excellent or outstanding. And I only got that from one evaluator, which was the second one. And they still ranked me the exact same as the first one did, who gave me only excellent and outstanding. The whole thing is very just informative. I hope that this can give you some insight into the fact that admissions definitely is kind of up to the fact. Sometimes it's just on your evaluator, and something that you've done doesn't always translate on paper. And with all of this, make sure to just give yourself grace during the admissions process and just put your best foot forward. And that's all you can do. And the rest is out of your control from there. So with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below for more college lifestyle content. I hope you have an amazing day, and I love each and every one of you. Mwah!